Okay, looks like the game is all tied up. Anyways, I have places to be, so I'm only gonna do one more question. Since contestant 2 got the last question right, he can choose the next one.
Ancient Rome for 500.
Okay. What did each emperor do? Okay, well that was quick. So what's the answer? Where is he going?
Okay, now I just need to get my thoughts together. The crisis of the 3rd century started in 235 Common Era when Severus Alexander was murdered by his own troops. Then he was succeeded by Maximinus, who was the first emperor to become an emperor after starting low in the ranks of the Roman army. He made taxes high and everyone kind of hated him, so the Senate deposed of him and then his troops killed him. The next two emperors were Gordian I and Gordian II. They ruled together, and Gordian II actually died after 3 weeks in a battle, and his father Gordian I ended up killing himself when he learned of the news. So their rule was like 3 weeks basically. The next two emperors are Rupienus and Balbinus. Now once again they had a pretty short ruling, about 3 months, and they were killed by their own troops. Now that I think about it, these emperors are like really bad.
It's been 8 minutes and 29 seconds. How is he not back yet?
Then Gordian III was emperor, and his father-in-law and his mother basically ruled through him, but he actually ruled for a decent amount of time. It was like 6 to 7 years, but then he was killed by his own troops, so yeah. Philip, Gordian's successor, actually wasn't that bad. He ended the War of Persia, and he was emperor during the 1,000-year anniversary of Rome. And then the next emperor killed him. Decius was really toxic to the Christians. He killed and imprisoned a lot of them, but then the Goths killed him. The next two emperors started as joint emperors, but one of them, Hostilian, basically got spawn killed from plague, and his co-emperor Gallus didn't do much, and his troops killed him. Aemilian, who succeeded him, started his rule off by halting a Goth attack, and the Goths actually stopped, invading for a while. But then, his own troops killed him, and the Goths immediately started invading again. Then Valerian came, who continued to persecute Christians following in Decius' example. He was actually joint emperors with Gallienus, but while trying to stop a Persian invasion, Valerian was captured and he died in captivity. And Gallienus actually lasted 15 years, which is actually really long for any emperor during the crisis. But he also invested into art and literature. After them, the emperor became Claudius II. And he started out like a pretty good emperor. Maybe the crisis was about to end, but he died of plague.
IDK if he's ever gonna be back. I'm just gonna go where I have to, and then I'll come back.
Bro, where is he? Why can't he just get DQ'd?
I'm pretty sure the next guy to rule was Quintillus, but not much is known about his rule. Some say he ruled for about 17 days, others say 77. To meet in the middle, you could say he ruled for about 46 or 40 days, but there's actually more evidence pointing towards a 77-day rule. because there were coins made of him during his ruling, and 17 days kind of seems too short to make and distribute a bunch of, coins. Next in line after Quintillus was quickly killed was Aurelian. Now, Aurelian is a pretty sweaty emperor. Some could say he was a legend. He basically immediately stopped Vandal and other invasions, and he also ordered a wall to be built around Rome, and it actually still stands to this day. He even took back a bunch of Eastern Roman provinces that Rome had not had control of for a very long time. He destroyed entire cities that seemed like threats. He increased food distribution, and he was thought to have done more for plebeians than any Roman emperor ever. Finally, he put forward an attempt to decrease and slow down the debasing in coins and get the currency value back up.
Wow, what an amazing emperor.
This could have been the end of the crisis of the first century, but his secretary tricked his officers into killing him. The next emperor, Tacitus, was nowhere close to as good. He was constantly in war, and he only ruled for about 9 months. His cause of death is unknown. It was probably plague, or either being killed by his own troops or killed by an enemy. Florian, the next emperor, only ruled for 3 months. He died during a massive civil war, and his cause of death is once again unknown, but was probably suicide or his troops killed him. Probus, the next emperor, was also pretty bad, but he ruled for a lot longer, about 6 years, and once again he was constantly in war. He had a strong interest in agriculture, but he actually allowed outside troops to settle in Rome, which was not a very good idea, and then his troops killed him. Carus, his successor, was struck by lightning, and he died. His son, Numerian, became emperor after that, and then he died from an eye disease, so neither of them had a very long ruling. Carus's other son, Carinus, actually lasted longer than Numerian. Of course, he didn't get an eye disease, but then his troops killed him, and now become Diocletian. The end of the crisis of the first century. Now, Diocletian really needs no introduction. He made the empire stable, and he just made everything better again. But I should probably be getting back to Jeopardy now.
Wait a second. Didn't I stop time? Oh no. Where did you even go?
Oh, I did a 5K. Here's a picture of me crossing the finish line. See, I'm right there.
46:40.
Yeah, I PR'd.
Okay, I'm back.
Where have you been?
I needed to use the bathroom.
Okay, so anyways, answer the question now.
There wasn't much that was accomplished during the crisis of the first century, but there are a few things. First off, Aurelian built his wall around the city that still stands to this day. Some of the emperors also stopped invading groups and tribes, and they also invested in the future of Rome, like art and literature. And they all had coins made of them, which isn't really an accomplishment because it was like something that happened when you were emperor. But, I mean, yeah, and then Aurelian also tried to slow down the debasing of coins, which kind of worked. So, yeah.
What a sweat you won. The prize is a dime.
Seriously? Yep.